Hello, everyone. We are trying again. Fingers crossed that tonight it's going to work out. I've done everything I could think of to try to get my computer all set up. I've got it elevated. I've got a fan on the way. Changed up how I plugged everything in. So fingers crossed. I've just been having it crash a lot. It might be the computer. We're going to try to go with it. That's the whole reason I am on tonight. Tuesday, I just could not get it to work. And I had 2 streams going at once, which is theoretically not even possible. It was so weird. So I don't know if it was YouTube. Fingers crossed. If for some reason it crashes again, it might be my computer and I might need an upgrade, which really sucks. But knock on wood, we're not going to have that happen tonight. We can hear you. Woohoo! Alrighty, folks. Welcome. If you are new here, please subscribe. I usually am on every Tuesday to kind of do live readings. This is obviously not normal. However, if you want to see when I'm going to be live next, you can always go to my website. My events tab always has the next date that I'm going live. And I've updated it even for this so that you guys knew I'm going to be up on Saturday. Also, if you subscribe to my page, sometimes, I don't know if it sends out notifications. I think it does. Whenever I skip a live video, you have to let me know. But if you see the thumbnail, if you're subscribed to me, sometimes it'll pop up in your feed and you can see the thumbnail ahead of time. You can press the bell button and say remind me or notify me when I do go live. So that's an option as well. I'm going to go ahead and set our member timer. So when this timer goes off, whatever member comments closest to it gets a free reading for the night. All right, starting. Hello, welcome. Yeah, okay. And then a few announcements. One is that my pre-made readings are finally up. So if you guys if you want a reading, but you're I don't really know what to get. I know my timed readings are kind of show up, bring questions with you, but sometimes we don't have questions and we just want a reading, but we don't know, we don't have huge needs. I'm already lagging. Oh no. Oh, work computer, please, for the love of Jesus. If I crash here in a second, I might try again in my husband's room. We shall see. I'm starting to think this is my laptop. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. However, those pre-made readings are ready. And basically, they are me coming up with questions, me coming up with a topic, and you just kind of sit back, relax, and get the reading delivered to you via audio recording. And I just kind of fill in the reading for you, so you don't have to come up with questions ahead of time, if that makes sense. So those are up on my website as of right now. And one thing I've also decided that, I really should have decided way sooner, is that each one of these live nights, I'm going to have a psychic development topic. And that is so that, there's a little bit more rewatch value. And I realize a lot of the topics I do are oh, whatever moon is coming up or whatever astrology season is coming up. But I know not everyone's interested in that. So I want to make these live nights a little bit more fun by giving you guys maybe just a little taste of some sort of topic. So tonight we are going to be talking about reading for family, reading for loved ones, and kind of the wishy-washy area that we're in when we have to do that. So I'm going to start with that, and then I have a group reading. I kind of have a pick a card style reading. If I don't lose you guys, then we will follow it up with individual readings. Probably won't go very long tonight. I am headed out of town tomorrow early in the morning. I am headed off to Missouri. I'm going to be teaching some in-person workshops at Milo Farm Retreat. So I'm really excited to be going there, doing that, meeting some of you folks that are in Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas area. So if you're in that area and you're what are you talking about? Go to my Instagram. There's a workshop. People can sign up to last minute. And we are going to be doing, one day we're going to focus on animal communication. The next day we're focusing on the psychic clairs. So if you want to meet me in person, we're going to be doing that. And it's like a whole festival. I'm so excited. It's an attunement festival, and every single class that day is dedicated to another, or to a chakra. Mine is like the root chakra, so I'm first in the day. But it's going to be like a really fun time, really fun party. Hi, Lori. We're going to see if live works tonight. Hi, Karen. All right. So let's really quick talk about reading for family and friends. Mostly family tonight. I think reading for friends could be its own topic. And again, I want to give you just some bite-sized like things that maybe I haven't talked about in a long time. Maybe I haven't talked about at all. So again, every live night has like a little bit of information, psychic development information. So one of the things that is such a huge kind of ethical concern when you are becoming psychic, when you're learning how to be psychic, is a lot of people really believe that you should not read for your family at all, period. And this is what I was taught as well. All of my coaches were very much like, do not read for your family, don't go there. They explained why, and I'm going to explain some of that tonight. And I think there are really good reasons not to read some family members. However, over the years, I've kind of developed my own method. I think it's something that is doable. It's something that requires even more ethics than normal. So, we have our base ethics of like what we will or won't do as a psychic. And when it comes to family, we just have to have even more ethics or more protection or more steps to make sure that we're doing things the absolute right way. And so I'm going to talk about the pros and cons just really quick. You have to tell me if you guys like this for our live nights. Hello, Winifred. Saturday night. Yes, Saturday night, because this last Tuesday I could not get on. I was streaming 2 lives at once, which you can't even technically do. I was just like, what is going on? So I don't know, YouTube was just having a moment. It might be my computer. It's not my computer. I'm setting that intention. I'm trying everything to make sure that like it's cool in here. It's not an overheating issue. Like, it's so frustrating. Anyways, so yeah, one obvious big issue with reading for family members. So this is saying, my family member, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, whatever, they want a reading from me, right? And one of the big issues with that is that there's a lot of issues. The first one, though, is that, and I'm thinking more specifically if you're reading like another family member in spirit that a lot of us are connected to, one of the big issues is that that person that you're reading for might be totally ready for a psychic reading, but your other family members might not be ready for a psychic reading. And the thing with family is they gossip, right? They move that message down the line. So somebody had a reading with me, they might go and share it with their mom, who then shares it with your cousin, who then shares it with your uncle. It just kind of gets passed down the line. And what if it gets to or somebody who's not ready to hear that message, somebody who's maybe not even okay with the psychic ability or just believes in it in general, right? Then you've got somebody that is in the family that supposedly says this is how it is, this is what this family member in spirit says, and we all believe it, and grandma, you have to believe it too, right? There's some ethical things there of you can't really stop family members from gossiping. It's just a natural thing. I mean, unless your family doesn't gossip at all, awesome. But you know how family works. It just kind of works like a game of telephone. And that's another issue too, is that message that you might have sent to whoever you were reading, it can get garbled. Person to person, it can change. They hear their own version of it. They take what they want to hear, and then it changes. And then by the time it goes through 5 or 6 people, if you were to check it as a psychic, it might be like, whoa, how did you get that? That's not, I didn't even say anything close to that. So it can definitely happen. So the telephone kind of like game is an issue. Gossiping is an issue, especially if somebody really doesn't believe in the psychic ability or believes that person would have said something. So it causes drama. And again, maybe not everyone is into the psychic ability. Maybe they don't believe that. And it can just cause a lot of internal stuff. And again, maybe they're not ready to hear it. On the opposite side, maybe you have a family member who's really awesome, who loves getting readings from you. But what if they come to you too often? Because you're like the family psychic, they can come to you, they can ask a bunch of questions, they can, basically get a reading whenever they want. That becomes a problem too. One, because, when you're getting too many readings too often, no matter who you are, you're not trusting your own intuition. You're using that other person as a crutch to help you make decisions. You're kind of getting into the normal realm of like what's not okay. But then also you've got bias too with family members. You know what's going on in their lives. You probably have things you want them to do or to achieve. And it's really hard to like get your bias out of that. And make sure that when you are communicating with, this family member, that you're not letting your personal opinions kind of filter in through the reading. Hey everyone, if you're enjoying just talking a little bit about a quick topic of the theme of tonight, which is reading for family members, whether you're reading like a spirit for them, whether you're just reading like into their daily lives. Also, another thing that I'm thinking of that I haven't thought of is, and I'm writing this down because this will become an eventual video, and that's, what if you're wrong, or what if they don't understand how the psychic ability works? Don't understand how it works. So with that issue comes, maybe you were wrong, or maybe you were half right, or maybe they thought that was the way it was supposed to be, and they had no choice and the future couldn't change. If you don't explain those things up front, they could take the reading and just like really have the total like wrong idea, if that makes sense. Those are all the negatives I can think of now. There's more. I came up with so many on Tuesday, like right before the live cut out, and I just missed everybody. However, let's talk about the positives, because again, I think as I've read for a very long time, it is just so hard for me to believe that, we have these psychic abilities and we can't share it with the people that we are closest to. It just seems like an odd rule to me. I feel like, the people around me most might need to hear those messages most. And maybe because I'm so close to them, they're more likely to hear them. So to me, I kind of have been questioning this for many, many years after, what I've learned. And one, I think what you could do is educate your family member on all the things that I just talked about. So I try very hard, if I'm ever reading another family member, to say, please don't pass this along to anybody else, because game of telephone, they could hear their own version. Or maybe it could get to X person who's not ready to hear this yet. Like, keep it between us. And I was going to say for the most part they have, but I've heard other people be like, oh, hey, I heard you read so-and-so. So I know it happens no matter how much I try to be like, no, draw that line. Let's see. And I'm trying to think, what are the other positives? I mean, one positive is that maybe people do become more interested in intuition, psychic development. And I will say some of my cousins, even my sister, have become way more interested in it, way more curious, I should say. They're not doing it themselves, but they do ask me a lot more questions than they used to. And I think because of that, it's helping them get more acquainted with their intuition, which to me, my personal opinion is it can only help people. I don't feel like it's like a religion that I'm like converting people at all. I feel like, again, it can fit into any religion. So to me, I feel like it's going to only help them understand their intuition, their intuitive ability. They can use it however they want. But I think that is a positive, is maybe they will start to learn about all of this and become interested, and maybe it will help them in some sort of way. Let's see. And again, one of the things that I was saying with family members is that as long as you're setting those ethics ahead of time, as long as you're being extra protected with it, I think it's okay. And to me, I've talked about this too with like reading children, and that is, if you're extra preemptive, you're really making sure you check all those boxes ahead of time, I feel like you can avoid a lot of these common problems. So like the problem of seeing you too often. If you're really firm and you really set those expectations up front, like, hey, I will give you one reading a year, done. Or, you can set that limit and be very firm with it, and if your family members respect you, awesome. They're not coming to see you too often. Let's see. And I think another hard thing, but if you can do it, and I think it is totally possible, is to set aside your bias before you read your family members. I think that when I read family members, I try extra hard to set aside that bias. I think that's actually a really good exercise for me. It really challenges me as a reader. I really have to push myself. My husband is the hardest, I will say, because obviously our lives are so intertwined. But I think it's a good thing to flex as a psychic. And I know there's a lot of people out there that would disagree with me, but really, it comes down to, okay, if you disagree, what is it that you're worried will happen? And then when you find that worry, you kind of say, okay, how can I prevent this? And there's obviously some things you can't prevent, which is why you got to just be as easy as you can, or as good as you can about this. A few more things, and then we'll move on. I think one of the good things that can come from reading family members, though, is you can help them forgive other people. You can help them maybe forgive that family member in spirit. Maybe they need to hear that they are loved or they're forgiven. To me, maybe you are the only person as that psychic who can connect and talk to them about this subject. And so to me, the fact that you can facilitate that forgiveness, that love, whatever is needed, to me, that's where I'm like, why can't we read family members? There can be so much healing involved, especially because it can bring you as a family closer together. Maybe you become closer as like a full unit, or maybe you just become very close with a few individual people. And I feel like that has been something my psychic ability has allowed me to do. I feel like there's some people in my family who have wanted to ask questions. We get into it. I'm getting into their stuff, and they know that I'm going to keep things confidential. They know it's not going to go anywhere. And because of that, they trust me, and we have a stronger relationship than we would have before. So I do think that it's a positive, and it really can bring you closer together as a family. Let's see. I think that's it, though. I think that's what I have. I know there's more. So if you guys feel like there's anything else, positive or negative, that could come about from reading a family member, or maybe you have a question like, ooh, what about this? What if this happened? Feel free to throw it in the comments. I think, again, these topics on these live nights will be a good way for me to come up with some future videos. I know one future video that you guys have been super requesting is, how do you come out as a psychic, as an intuitive person to your family member? That is coming. I promise. That video is coming. I've been getting like DMs about it. I've been getting so many messages, which is interesting. It's kind of making me wonder if like a lot of us are feeling that urge to, First one is free. That's a good, yes. And that's another thing, is I do charge. That's a good point. I do not, because if I did free readings, I think they would be hitting me up so much more. I do the first one free for a lot of my family members, but after that, I'm kind of nicely like, yeah, here's my website. You want to pay? I'll set up a time. Hello, Kate. All right. Anything I want to ask, anything else I'm missing, pros or cons for reading family members? Ooh. I mean, the biggest thing is just you can help them through things. Maybe you can help them through things that you personally wouldn't have known how to help them through, but because you're using your intuition, maybe you help them overcome something. So there's a lot of positives, I think. However, most psychics are like, don't do it. Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Just like, okay, but why? Can I ask the question? Oh, yes. And thank you, Karen. That brings up another good point. There are just some people you should not read. And I think as long as you make sure you do that, I think you're going to be okay. And I'm writing that down because I also mentioned that on Tuesday. there's some people you just don't read. And I know right now in my head, some family members that if they asked me, I'd be like, here's another great psychic that you should, talk to. And that's just because maybe my bias is too strong. Maybe I have personal opinions. Maybe I just have like too many issues with that person and I just won't go there with some people. Or maybe, yes, somebody is way too close-minded and it's just going to be a battle and they're just going to sit there and be like, prove it, tell me what I want to hear. I had a party last weekend. Was that last weekend or the weekend before? I think it was last weekend, actually. And this guy sat down, and the whole time I was like, does that resonate? And I usually ask that to make sure that I'm connecting correctly. And he's like, you tell me. I was just like, oh my God, get this guy out of my face. All right. That's the topic. Let me know. Did you guys like kind of having a more psychic development related topic instead of me being like, oh, it's Leo season. Here's what Leo season is about. I just feel like that's not quite my niche. So I wanted to try to do that. I think we're okay though, as far as streaming. Haven't lagged again. There was a moment there where it started to. Okay. I got my member timer going. I've got group readings now, and I'm doing a pick a card style. So I've got pile 1, pile 2, pile 3. Ask which one is meant for you right now. I can't read anyone else if my daughter is in the room. I'm really in tune with her energy. Oh, interesting. And kids are probably a whole nother ball game that I haven't even been ready for or been used to yet. So kids will be just a whole nother thing. But that makes sense. You might be almost too close to where it makes it hard. Let the show begin. All right, pile number 1. We're going to do this group reading quickly, and then we'll get to individual readings. I know some of you messaged me afterwards, and you're like, I was so excited for readings. I was trying to get on to donate. All right. Pile number 1, you have hand fastings. The poles pulse through all that I am. No hidden form is left untouched. I am risking, for I yearn for unity spilled lustrously upon my lips. Hand fastings. And before I jump into this, I have 2 cards to just kind of explain how this is manifesting. Okay. To me, this is about making commitments. Hand fasting is like kind of the old way of, it's not old, but it's an older tradition of kind of like marriage, of symbolizing unity, of 2 people coming together. You'll still see it a lot in weddings. And so to me, right now, this message is to like go for it. I'm kind of feeling like open up, be vulnerable, get close, maybe to those around you. Maybe it's to yourself. I kind of want to pull the book on this. No, I should go quickly. I think ultimately this card is kind of talking about really showing your true authentic self. So even if you're like had a question about work or something, like there's something about opening up and truly being like, hey, this is me. This is how I want to come together. Being very open and honest is going to serve you well. And I think this is kind of like a general thing. It's not necessarily purely relationships, because I pulled the Knight of Swords and the Wheel of Fortune. And so like, I feel like you have a lot of thoughts. You might have a lot of ideas of how you want to express this, how you want to go about it, but maybe you're kind of stuck. Maybe you're not pushing forward on it. And this is kind of saying, just jump in, do it, take action, express how you feel, express those thoughts that are coming up. And especially because, whoa, that one flew out. You might be a little bit worried of, my connection is not unstable. Yeah, you better work. Okay. My method tonight is to get angry at my computer. And the Wheel of Fortune is basically saying, the outcome is going to be a good one. It's just you don't quite know exactly what's going on right now. The outcome might seem scary. It could seem really good. But right now, the inaction is hurting you a little bit more. But this is kind of a sign of like, it is going to work out. Okay, maybe it is about relationships because I just pulled the falling in love card. I am hearing, though, for those of you who are not trying to manifest a relationship, this is about a relationship with yourself. Kissing the divine in another or yourself. To me, this is saying there's thoughts, there's feelings, there's a side of you that you're not sharing. Maybe your partner needs to hear this. Maybe somebody in your family needs to hear this. You know, be honest, speak those words, speak those thoughts. Whatever it is you've been thinking about doing, this is permission to go for it because there's going to be a good outcome. And the outcome might just be that you honored yourself and your feelings a little bit more, you know? And maybe that's what's most important. Hello, Jenna. Okay, that was pile number 1. Now we're doing pile 2 for the group reading. Rowan. And rowan is a type of tree, I think. There is no need to fear, dear one. Protected you are, and protected you will always be. There's like little tree gnomes on this. Rowan. So this is just, you are protected. You're safe. Pile number 2, you need to hear this. Especially because you got the tower and the high priestess. Okay. So pile number 2. We got the tower, which, look at, isn't that artwork awesome for the tower in this deck? The tower, things might be a little crazy right now. Pile number 2, things might have been upheaved. Life may be chaotic. I love the symbolism of the tower because literally it's a lightning bolt hitting this tower. The tower is crumbling. People are literally flying out of it in the original artwork. And basically the tower is saying it's falling apart whether you chose it or not because the foundation was unstable. The whole thing doesn't work, so it's falling apart. But the great thing about that is that there's a chance to rebuild. You can rebuild this tower and you can make it actually work better for you next time. So the crappy thing about the tower card, why everyone like freaks out about it, is because you're just in the middle of it. You're in the middle where the tower is falling. You're not even close to the, well, maybe you are close to the rebuilding part, but right now it seems like chaos. It seems like doom and gloom. It seems like you're only going backwards. It's never going to get better. It's very easy to kind of see it that way, but remember with the tower that as soon as the dust settles, it's only going to get better from there. You know, you're building from the ground up and you have to build it better. And with this, I also pulled the High Priestess. So this is all about maybe this tower moment is coming because you trusted your intuition, because you followed through with, you know, the gut feelings that you had. And maybe if not, if this tower moment was totally unexpected, you know, this is saying to use that intuition, to trust the universe, to trust what's happening next, and to just go with it and use your intuition whenever you're not sure. Come back to center, connect with yourself, find answers within and not without. Pile number 2. And then the last card I pulled for you, Time and Tide, Oceanic Spells and Rituals. So with this card is usually like there's a time, there's time and tide. There's times when the tide is in, times when the tide is out. You just are in one of those moments where it feels a little bit more negative, but that doesn't mean it's not going to get positive again. Things always change. Things never stay the same. They will not always be bad. Pile number 2. That's the message that you need to hear tonight. And with this, it says Oceanic Spells and Rituals at the bottom. I'm actually getting this like visual of you guys just going inwards, taking care of yourselves, doing some self-care, doing some pampering. Like the rituals is sticking out. And if there's any like literal fun ritual that you want to do to kind of feel like you can move past this tower moment, like pull it out, do a candle meditation, do something so that you can kind of let go of this energy a little bit more. But hang in there, pile number 2. Again, with the tower card, you know, with the Rowan card, let me go back to that. There's no need to fear. You are protected, and you will always be. So even though it seems scary right now, pile number 2, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. You're welcome, TC. So I'm going for it. Yes. Hello, Heidi. Thank you guys for joining me. Are Saturdays harder or are Tuesdays harder? I'm curious. Ooh, okay. Pile 3. We got the green man. This guy's cool. Look at him. He's like, yes. I know the green man, especially with, because this is my Beltane deck. He's kind of like one of the big deities, gods associated with Beltane. All that I desire comes to me easily and effortlessly. I know this to be true, for I am abundant in all that I do. The green man, this card is all about abundance. If you kind of like that message, maybe look up the green man himself. Maybe you guys will connect with him a little bit more. Okay, how this is showing up. Right now, y'all are in your head. You're in your head. You're going over all the things that are not working. You're paying attention to the things that aren't going well. And you're just doing this back and forth. Like, you're like, sometimes like, things are awesome. Things are great. And then you're like, life sucks. Oh my gosh, I hate this. And so you're kind of doing this seesaw because of it. But your guys are kind of pushing you to go after the new, the exciting, to jump into something, be a little bit risky, be a little bit naive. This is the Fool card. And because we pulled it up right, this is kind of like the good version. It's like just starting a new adventure, just going for it. How does that, I just want to pull one more clarifier. How does this relate to abundance? Oh, okay. Oh, that was our member timer. Heidi, you're the closest one who commented. So Heidi, let me know what your question is. If you have one, if you want one, and I will answer that probably right after this last pile. Okay, so the Knight of Cups is what I pulled. So this to me is that we're not taking action. We're just being, we're being so stuck because we're focused on lack. We're focused on what we don't have, what's not come to fruition yet. And really, your guides just want you to take action, to move forward on your feelings, even if those feelings feel unplanned, not ready. You know, if it feels a little naive and maybe stupid to do so. But the Fool is somebody who ventures out into the world. This is the first card of the tarot. This is the call to action. You know, the journey is starting, and that Fool, he doesn't know necessarily what's coming ahead, and he just jumps into it anyway. So that's kind of the energy that they're calling you to do, because right now there's just too much stagnant emotions, you know? And they really want you to get out of your head and just start actually doing, is what I'm hearing. And you're going to start to see that abundance a little bit more. Okay, and then I got this last card of advice, the unseen. Too much is hidden from you. So right now, you guys are just so focused on going over all the options, all the things that you could or couldn't do. But like, your guides are literally saying you can't see all of the outcomes. So just start the journey. The Fool card is like the card for you tonight. It's moving forward, not knowing what's next, but expecting abundance, expecting that you're protected, that all of your needs and wants will be met. This is just about getting out of your head, really. Okay. Awesome. That was our group reading. I'm going to clean up these cards. I think we're going to get to Heidi, and then we'll jump into individual readings. So for tonight, you guys can send a donation to Venmo, or you could do it through Super Chat. Whoever donates always kind of gets priority for the night. And then if we catch up, we will do free readings. So, all right, Heidi. Any messages from her guides? Anything that you should know? Trying to get to know this deck a lot more. It's my first kind of like official witchy themed deck, so I'm not too familiar with it. Okay, Heidi. Okay, so I think this is about emotions. So we have primal. There is no other way around but through the very truth that lives within you. And I remember reading this card before, primal. This is like our primal bodies, our physical selves. I almost feel like that last reading was somewhat similar. And I asked, okay, what is this in regards to? And I pulled the Five of Cups. And the Five of Cups to me is just when you're in emotional distress, when your feelings are raw, you're just not feeling good at all. I did pull it in reverse. Okay. And they're telling me this is kind of how to get out of it. I'm hearing Heidi to like literally move. There's no other way around but through the very truth that lives within you. To me, I'm kind of interpreting this as like, sometimes you just get a little too stuck in your head. And when in those moments, not that that's bad, but in those moments, it's about physically moving, getting your body moving. The primal card, like to me, is like walking, doing an exercise, whatever feels most comfortable to you. For some reason, getting in touch with your body is going to help you a lot more through difficult emotions. And maybe this happened recently, and I'm hearing maybe you actually did this unknowingly. I want to ask if there's anything else I'm missing with this really quick. Oh, okay. The Return of Aphrodite. I'm reading this as temple, treating your temple as sacred. So treating your body as sacred. I mean, both of these pictures, these women are like all adorned, beautiful. They're powerful. There's something about taking care of yourself, your body. Not saying like you need to like work out or do something that's toxic or, what society thinks is, their image of beauty. To you. It's whatever makes you feel powerful, beautiful, connected to your body. And for some reason, that's going to really help you get in touch with your emotions and help you through those like hard emotions a little bit more. All right. Thank you, Heidi. Hey, everyone, if you're just joining us, we do donations first. Heidi actually got our member reading. So I don't think we have any other donations. So while we wait, we will do guessing games. And that's kind of what we do for the next, just checking to make sure nobody donated on Venmo. And so we do guessing games, and whoever gets the guessing game gets the reading. All right, I need to think of something. I'm going to use these cards as inspiration. That's too hard. I'm thinking of an animal. If you can think of the animal that I'm thinking of, then you get the reading. You're welcome. Thanks for being here, Heidi. Got fur floating around my face. Nobody's gotten it yet. I like the little emoji. An animal. Me. Oh. I need to finish my beer. Nobody's gotten it yet. It's a small animal. Small animal. Technically an insect. Giving you hints. Not a grasshopper. Man, those grasshoppers are bad right now. I don't know if it's just here. Oh, they're everywhere. I'm thinking of an animal, a very small animal, an insect. If you can think of the insect that I'm thinking of. Cockroach. Ant. Butterfly. Nobody's got it yet. I'll give you another hint here in a second. Mosquito, caterpillar. They make food that we eat. Is it food? Yeah, it's food. Grasshoppers are huge. Oh my gosh, I know. Bees. Surrealist, you got it. Lori and Cash, you guys would have been so close. I have Surrealist as first. Sometimes it doesn't show the same on your guys's, which I will say, but I just go off of what I see. All right, we'll do another guessing. We'll keep doing guessing games if nobody donates. Yes, so Surrealist, let me know what you want or what question you have, and I will pull a reading. I'm really excited though because I'm headed to Missouri tomorrow. I'm not excited for that drive. It's gonna be a 10-hour drive with a 2-year-old. But I'm gonna go to Milo Farms. It's a sacred land retreat. It's like this huge property with a ton of Airbnb spots, and they're having an attunement festival, and I'm gonna be teaching some courses over there. So if you follow me on Instagram, I'll probably share. For those of you on Patreon, we're going to be doing our Patreon Q&A from there. I'm really excited. I'm going to set up out in the field, and we're going to do some readings over there. If you're on Patreon, you might see some exclusive stuff from that. I'm excited. 4 B's in a row. What source got to say? What source got to say? Oh, and then Lori sent a donation. Thanks, Lori. We'll get to Lori after this. Okay. What source got to say? For Surrealist. Surrealist. Okay. So I got this card, and it's called Fertilizing. And I immediately heard you're in the middle of it. You're sowing the seeds, you're fertilizing the harvest. I feel like that harvest has not quite hit yet. So maybe you've been working your ass off. Is kind of what I'm hearing. You've been putting in a ton of work. You're not seeing the results, but this is like saying the results are on the way, but you're still in the process of growing it. But then it kind of has a different message on the bottom that says, food is not the only thing that nourishes you, dear one. Be mindful of what you feed your soul. And I'm hearing 2 different things with this. One, I feel like they're trying to pack as many messages in as they can. They're trying to say, pay attention to what you're eating and what you're putting into your body, but then also what you're feeding your soul. And to me, that's kind of like, who are you hanging out with? What are your activities? What are you doing day to day? Are you draining yourself by doing a bunch of things you don't want to do, or being around a bunch of people you don't want to be around? Yes. Okay. Love it, Surrealist. I mean, you freaking got Temperance and the Magician. So this to me is saying your manifestations are going to come true. They're all going to come to fruition. The Magician is somebody who thinks an idea, dreams a dream, and then makes it into reality. But right now, you're going through the Temperance card, which is basically you're being pressed from all sides. You might have depleted resources. It feels like the universe is crushing you. Again, the harvest isn't quite here yet. It just feels like, ugh. And this is kind of overall a sign to keep going. You're doing fine. Just make sure you take care of yourself while you're waiting for this to manifest. Because I think it would make it a lot easier, because a lot of the reasons you might be experiencing some of the stress and that pressure from the universe is what it feels like, is maybe because, again, maybe you're not literally taking care of your physical body. And maybe another thing is just you're not taking care of your soul. I thought I froze. Sorry. And I think both of those will definitely help you. It's almost like along the way, because that harvest is coming. It's not here yet. It's going to happen. But take care of yourself while you wait, and it'll make it seem a lot easier. All right. Thank you, Surrealist. Believes in unicorns. Welcome. And I will say, too, I have these memberships on YouTube. These are purely just for fun for our live nights, so that you can possibly win a free reading whenever we go live. I also have a Patreon, though. Patreon has way more perks. You get coaching Q&As every month. We have group readings. We have early access to all my videos, all sorts of extra perks, not just on YouTube. So just throwing it out there. All right, Lori, any messages that Lori needs? I feel like, Lori, the last couple times we've just talked about a possible boyfriend coming in. And every now and then I think about it and I'm like, I wonder if that's going to happen again. Let's see. It doesn't have to be what it needs to be. Lori. What messages does Lori need? And thank you, Lori, for the donation. You guys on Patreon, you're so awesome to me. You guys help me keep me doing what I'm doing. It makes it a lot easier. All right. What is this about? So I pulled that same primal card for you, Lori, which, I'm going to kind of associate that card now with taking care of your physical body. It's also to some extent about like trusting your gut and those primal instincts that you have. Okay, cool. Oh, I love that. My guys are saying it's the clairsentient hits. It's trusting your body and that your body can be used as a tool to connect to your intuition. So maybe that's a little bit, Lori, that you have some clairsentient hits. Also, maybe sometimes we have literal physical gut feelings and we don't realize, oh, actually, that's pretty intuitive. That's my body reacting to this situation and saying, no, get me out, or, oh, this is awesome. I'm going to pursue this. So, Lori, this is definitely about paying attention to your bodily instincts, especially because we also got boundaries for you. This is such a pretty card. Boundaries. Boundaries are sewn into the parts of who you are, for they are not to be crossed. And I asked what this is about, and I got the boundaries card again and the Hierophant. What is this about? Hope. You got 3 major arcana cards. Oh, okay. They're telling me these are kind of 3 different things. And they're telling me, okay, it's almost like you lose this. You lose the boundaries, or you lose that gut instinct that you rely on in these moments. And these moments are when you let the world control you. This is the Hierophant. So maybe you're tuning in too much to news, social media, what other people are saying, and maybe your boundaries are bad around that, and so you start to forget, to set those boundaries. Who am I? What do I need? Trusting your gut over like what you're empathic to. I feel like, Lori, you might just be a little bit more empathic to some of that stuff, and so it's remembering at those times, oh, I gotta set those boundaries. I gotta come back to me, my body. What's me versus them? And then I feel like also, if you just have bad boundaries in general, or maybe, somebody's pushing your boundaries, maybe it kind of throws you off. And I just feel like this is more like a forgetfulness to check the boundaries with all of these. And then because of it, you get out of tune with your body. And maybe because of that, it also just like affects how you treat your body, is what I'm hearing. Because if you got people being jerks and pushing up your boundaries, and you're kind of giving in and not setting those and just being like, yes, I'll do that. I'll sign up for this. I'll sign up for that. In a lot of ways, you have bad boundaries, and then maybe it does affect your physical body because you get tired, you're overworked, you signed up for too much, you're not drinking enough water. Like, I'm getting that very literally with this. And again, with the Hierophant, I feel like that's more energetically with like everyone else's energy. And then what's interesting, Lori, is I got the Star card also. And so I feel like how else this shows up is when you're down on your luck, when you feel like you're down in the dumps, you don't have a whole lot of hope. Maybe it's because you need to just come back to your body, come back to setting those boundaries and saying, this is me, this is somebody else. For this hope card, though, I feel like it's more about just getting back in tune with your body. I need a little bit more of an explanation here. How else do I explain that? I'm doing just a little bit longer on Lori because she donated a bit more. What? Pulling all major arcana cards. I pulled the Fool in reverse. I feel like it's self-sabotage, like literally sabotaging your body because you don't have hope for the future. So you're like, screw this, what's the point? And then you kind of come back to not taking care of yourself. Why is this so important though? Like, obviously this card is like the center, like taking care of your body for some reason. That doesn't mean like subscribing to toxic, like, workout culture or culture that says you have to look a certain way to be accepted by society. This is just feeling powerful and beautiful in your own skin, in your physical body. We are spiritual beings living a physical experience. And I just wanted to ask, like, why connecting with your body is so important. Freedom, independence, self-determination. There's something about it that's just going to give you a lot more power, a lot more connection. It's almost like because you take care of your physical vessel, you feel more free to just do whatever. There's more confidence. There's more excitement. I guess that makes sense. You're welcome, Surrealist. All right. Thanks, Karen. We will get to Karen after this. Alrighty. Thank you, Lori. I hope that helps. I will say, if anyone was feeling that message as well, something that you can do that's like a psychic development exercise for connecting a little bit more with your body. What's a good exercise? Because this feels very like clairsentient for me, but this is also just like with clairsentience, when you take care of your physical body, it just makes it easier for you to connect intuitively. But I feel like this is kind of at another level of just understanding what's yours and what's somebody else's, and like, how do I react in my body to information that's coming through. I know there's an exercise that's really good for this. I can't think of it, but another one is one of my favorites is sending your energy into an object. So like, we did this in my Aspen program. I felt my body. I was like, okay, this is Lauren. I'm kind of scanning my body head to toe, kind of feel sore here, feel sore there. This feels good. And then I had to project my energy onto a chair. And I had to imagine sending my whole being and putting it inside that chair. And what does that feel like? And so maybe, I think that was the exercise I was thinking of, because my guys are saying do that. There's something about sending your energy into something else and then pulling it back. You can do it a couple times. You feel a lot different when you send your energy into a chair. You feel stiffer. You feel like you can't move. I mean, everyone experiences it different. But then what you're doing is you're understanding what's me, what's mine, what's me, what's that chair. And then what you'll start to do is, as you go about your day, you'll start to realize, what's me versus that guy that I bumped into that was really mean, or really rude. And you start to differentiate yourself from those physical feelings, and then you set up those boundaries a lot better, because you're like, oh, this is me. I'm about to go into Walmart. I'm going to set my bubble. I'm going to set my energy. I'm going to make sure nobody else affects mine. All right. Yes, thank you, Lori. Yeah, I love that exercise. That was so cool to do. Okay. Okay, so I think Karen donated next. And again, once we catch up on donations, we can do... Oh, I'm sorry, Karen. Sheena donated ahead of you. So Sheena is next, and then Karen. So Sheena, let me know what your question is. I don't think I saw any other questions. Yeah, and Lori, I don't speak to that too much because I don't experience that. So thanks for coming in here, because I need to remember stuff like that. I'm not very clairsentient, but that totally happens to people for sure. You know what? Since we haven't got a message from Sheena, I'm going to jump to Karen. But Sheena, if you are out there, I see your donation. Feel free to send your question. I will make sure we get it answered. All right. Keep getting the message that your son will be breaking up with his girlfriend. Ooh. Don't send me your opinion on that yet. That's a good way to keep your bias out of my reading. So good catch. Love it. Ooh. Karen, she's like, yes, I'm gonna get them apart. I just want to say I pulled Oracle. So to me, I got immediate confirmation that you are an oracle about this. You have an intuition on this. Is this intuition right? Yes, I think so. I heard yes immediately. Spirits of other worlds, tell me tales of unknown. Tell me tales of the forbidden. So Karen, feel free to share your opinion if you want, but I feel like this is confirmation that you are intuitive. Oracle is another word for intuitive. Let me just ask about the situation itself, though. Okay, you got the sun. When the sun shows up in any reading, it's basically like happy outcome. For her? Yes. Okay. Because it could have been happy outcome for somebody else. I'm curious where you're getting are you getting those messages, or has like another psychic said something? Because if it's you, definitely trust that information. Good outcome. I would try not to like hold on to how it's going to happen. Just have the intention that he's going to be happy, that he's going to be free, try not to control it too much. But the fact that I got the 8 of Cups, this card, I think I have it written down as like the emotional moving on stage. It's like the 6 of Cups is the struggle. The 7 of Cups is like when you expand and you start to think about new, different ways of handling it. This is him, I think. He's been through the struggle. He's kind of gotten a perspective of, you know what, it doesn't have to be this way. And then the 8 of Cups is moving on. It's moving away. It's negative, but it's positive because you're moving away from that energy. But it's negative because you're having to go through the uncomfortableness of it. Sorry, at work. Oh, no worries. Are you the one who donated? Take your time, no worries. I'll still be on here probably maybe for another half hour or so. Anything else Karen needs to know about this? Like, I'm definitely hearing to like tell you not to get attached to the outcome. Like, awesome, it could work. Just have that intention. Okay. Anything else you need to know? I heard sacrifice. So I'm kind of like immediately getting that it might not be the best for him. There's parts of him that might be sacrificed in doing this. So like, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to come back home and be like Peachy Keen. Maybe the sacrifice is he becomes a lot more of a recluse, or maybe he becomes a lot more negative, or there's definitely something bad that will come out of this situation for him. I don't want you to stress out about it too much, but it's not going to be all hunky-dory. Like, it's hunky-dory for you. You're like, yes, woohoo, yeah. But that's not necessarily going to be his experience. And so I'm hearing to, like, match him on that level. If he does ever, like, reach out or something, it's not just like, yeah, you escaped. It's more, oh, man, that's awful. How can I help? You know what I mean? 2023... feels like sooner, honestly, Karen. Okay, you're Sheena. Awesome. I don't have a question, but I can tell they have something to say. I feel like they almost always have something to say. Okay. Thanks, Sheena. Of course. Thank you, Karen. All right. I think once we get to believes in unicorns, we'll be all caught up as far as donations. Okay. What's most important? Ooh, is this a pretty card? Sacred Waters. Let me read it really quick. Drunken by the swell of the sea, I can feel the blanket of her embrace. Unafraid of the presence, releasing the cords, I call her in, I call her deeply within. Ooh, I love the description on these cards. They're so like poetic. They're not really like logical. And so this to me is just conveying a feeling, unicorns. And this to me is, it's when you retreat. It's when you only focus on yourself. It's when you're in the dark. It's when you're meditating. It's when you're just solely focused on yourself, and you fall into this energy of kind of like winter time is almost what it feels like, or the energy of going inwards, of being an introvert. The reason why I associate that with winter is like when winter comes around, it gets cold, we go out less, we do less. I can feel the blanket of her embrace, unafraid of the presence, releasing the cords. I call her in. So this is almost like opening yourself up to divine, unicorn, opening up to your guides and allowing them to come in and just release things from your life, to bring in messages. I'm kind of hearing like they just want you to like unfold a little bit, to open up to them, and you might get some downloads coming in. But I also feel like there's things in your life that need to be released, and really sometimes we can't identify those until we go inwards and check in with our bodies, check in with our spiritual self, and be like, you know what, this isn't serving me. I think I need to let this go. And I think there's something about, you could literally do that in a bath. You could go out to the ocean. You could go to like a lake. Or you can mimic this in kind of like a meditation. And they're wanting to bring you closer to yourself. This is the Lover's card. This is saying, how are you your best own ally? And I don't feel like you know the answer to that question necessarily. It's like, how can you help yourself? How can you play to your strengths? Who are you? And how can you touch that divine within you, if that makes sense? I feel like these messages are just kind of like a little bit more clear than normal tonight. I wonder why. I've been in hermit mode for like a year now. Awesome. You're like already there. You're getting more in touch with yourself and loving yourself. And I really feel like this is, again, going inwards, using your intuition to talk to your guides, talk to your higher self, to be like, what's next? What's going on? And I feel like this is more about that communication of like information. They want to share something with you. And really they're saying like on a regular basis. It's whenever you're feeling stuck or lost or just like, I don't know what to do next. It's going inwards. It's going into those sacred waters. It's being silent. And then I pulled the timeout card. So you feel like you're in hermit mode, stay there. It's all good. Awareness, contemplation, solitude, time alone. This is permission to stay there. Maybe you need a little bit more time there. Maybe you need a little bit more of a break. I think it's totally fine. And just understand that, if maybe you're a little frustrated and you're like, I want things to move, maybe connecting with your intuition, your guides in that way will help you kind of move through it. But they're really just trying to get you to connect back to yourself. I don't know if you can see this imagery, but it's like two people and they're touching each other's hearts. I don't know if you can see, it just looks like really bright and really dark, but there's a really pretty sunset out there behind me tonight. How pretty! I thought I was in a good place until recently. Okay, and that makes sense. It's just about, hey, go back in. Go in. I'm just going to read this one last time. Drunken by the swell of the sea, I can feel the blanket of her embrace. Unafraid of the presence, releasing the cords, I call her in. I call her deeply within. To me, this is pulling up a new message of just doing the shadow work, being unafraid of going into those emotions, calling her deeply within. It's like going deep within that. I mean, to what feels comfortable, obviously. Don't go anywhere that's emotionally not safe for you. Sometimes that stuff needs, outside help. But to me, this is not being afraid to feel those feelings. It's that shadow side. It's the deep waters. It's the dark waters. And sometimes when we go there, feel those feelings, it makes it a lot better. I think they've done a study that says like to really truly feel like a feeling in full. Maybe it's negative, maybe it's positive. To sit, to let it come over you, to be in the middle of it, and then to let it go. It literally only takes 90 seconds. 90 seconds to feel a feeling. Yet we will take years to avoid going there. And so I think that can be very therapeutic. Again, within your own comfortability. Everyone is at a different place in their journey. But to me, 90 seconds is a lot quicker than like years and years of avoiding something, if that makes sense. I feel like that's just kind of for everyone, which is like why I'm sharing that. Shunsets. Oh no, I totally get it. It probably brings it all back up. So yes, time out. Take some time for you. All right, I think we're all caught up on donations. And I'm probably going to go for another 30 minutes, so till like 8:30 my time. Let's do another guessing game. I'm thinking of a color. If you can think of the color that I'm thinking of, then you get the reading. I've been doing the shadow work. Awesome. Good confirmation then. I'm still hermiting too. Orange, yellow, blue. Nobody's gotten it yet. That's something that I'm going to talk about in my next Sabbath video. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, Surrealist, you're throwing up 3. I don't think that's allowed. Even though you might have gotten 1. I'm not going to let that count. Also because I only let people do 1, so even if you did get it, I'd have to have you pass it off. Gold, Cash, you got it. Woohoo! So Cash, let me know what your question is, and I'll go ahead and do the reading. Oh my gosh, the sunset. I wish you could see it. Maybe if I like... You're not going to be able to see it. It's really pretty, though. So Cash got it. It was gold. I know, Karen, you were close. I can see it. Yeah, Lori can see it from her house. All right. How do I get my ex? We lived together with our kids to get back with me and rebuild our relationship. Okay. Been trying so hard for a while. Guys, don't give me nothing. Yeah, and I will say, sometimes with that, it's because, well, it could be a lot of things. It could be just not getting information. It could be that they don't want to answer, not understanding your psychic ability. I need to finish this beer. Hang on. Done. Okay. So I will say, and I'm pretty sure you understand this, you can't make anybody do anything. But I will kind of reframe that question into how, no, I don't want that. I want this one. How can you manifest that relationship? I got Irama, Wonder Voyage, Crossing Deep Waters, Pilgrimage, Journey of the Soul. This to me is saying, unfortunately, it's going to be a long process. It's something that both of you have to go deep. Both of you have to go on I feel like this is a voyage to change, because I kind of intuitively feel like the reason why it's not working is he's not in the position that you need to be him in, and you're not in the position that he needs you to be in. I hope that makes sense. Like, and so because of it, it's almost like you guys need to work on yourself. You guys need to go on this own personal journey. You know, he needs to improve the things that he's not good at. You need to improve the things that you're not good at, and then try again. But right now, trying to force it, it's just not going to work, because I feel like a lot of change needs to happen. And I'm just really quickly going to pull. I think he's just struggling mentally with a lot, and he needs to work through this on his own and not use you as a crutch or use anyone else as a crutch. and you have the idea, you know what you want. But I feel like it might be a little bit pushy. Like your energy might be a little bit pushy because the King of Swords is like the silent type. It's doing things and not it's like the silent king. He doesn't need to be all showy and big and get all this attention. He knows what to do and he executes it, but he doesn't need all of the outward fame or fortune. And not that that's what you're like going for, but there's something about, I just feel like there's a little bit too much push on him. And I feel like you guys need to almost work on yourselves. So if there's anything that you can do to help push it along, it's help him go through his stuff of what he struggles with, and then be open to whatever he has to say about you and what maybe you could improve on. Because right now where you're at, if you tried to come together, I'm just seeing it as not matching. So if you could go on these kind of like little voyages of the soul, maybe you would end up in a much better place because you become a little bit, I don't want to say like an improved version of yourself, but you're changed in a better way. And then it makes it more compatible. Obviously, I'm just like very surface level with this reading. So I feel like there's a lot more to that you could dive into. And so maybe if you have some tarot cards, pull some tarot cards, trust your intuition. It feels like a year, Cash, which you might not like. You might not like that. But that's what it feels. And just know that the future can change. And if you take action to do it, like honestly, personal Lauren advice, just talking about it, instead of talking to me and getting like my opinion, just say, hey, I'm interested in this. I know you might not be, but if this were to be a thing, what would you need to happen? What would I need to have happen? I feel like that might clear up the air and get things pushed a lot further than, waiting a whole year. And if that makes you uncomfortable, maybe it's not the right time is kind of what I'm hearing. Of course. Thank you, Cash. Okay. I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear, but I say it as I get it. All right. I think I caught up on everybody. Yes. Okay. Let's do another guessing game. We're doing a lot of guessing games tonight. We are going to... Oh, this will be fun. I'm thinking of a planet. If you can think of the planet that I'm thinking of, then you get the reading. That's something I should write down. I'm learning... Well, I just finished Yasmin Boland's astrology book. Jill, you got it right away. Jupiter. Jupiter. Jill, let me know if you have any questions. What questions you might have. But yeah, I finished Yasmin Boland's Astrology Made Easy. It was a pretty tiny book, and she got right to the point, kind of walked through everything you need to know astrology-wise very briefly. But then she also like ends each like section with like, okay, look at your chart and how does this relate to your chart? And now I can read a birth chart like pretty well, actually. It might take me like 2 hours to do it, but I get it now. And it's so nice to be like, oh, I know what all this craziness is. So if you're interested in astrology, I would check out that book. It's a fast read, very like hands-on. I had my birth chart, my husband's birth chart, and my son's birth chart all written out, and I was taking notes on them. I loved that book so much. It's very basic, very introductory level. But anybody, it's like if you just want to start somewhere, great book. Okay, what should I ask about work? Is that a question for me, or you just want to know about work? Yasmin Boland. Yasmin. Yep. Yasmin Boland, Boland. I mean, it's very surface level, and because of that, I'm sure a lot of people read it and they're like, so easy, so basic. They left out so much, but I think that's the point. Is it needs to be for newbies. And Yasmin Boland, she's very like astrology heavy. She also wrote the Moonology book. She also wrote the Moonology diary that I'm using for this year. Okay, so Having thoughts about a new job. Okay, so let's ask for Jill. I'm going to do tarot. Frustrated by pay and growth potentials. Okay. I don't like those odds. Okay. So I basically did like a should you stay or should you go kind of spread. And I love doing that whenever you're kind of weighing two decisions. Staying, I have the heartbreak card and the Empress in reverse. So to me, this is like abundance not happening. So that could be money, financial abundance, maybe just feeling like all your needs and wants are met. You're right. That's not going to happen where you're at. And there's going to be just more heartbreak of like, it's not where you need to be. However, I pulled, okay, should you go? There's definitely going to be like a financial challenge if you leave. So you got like, unfortunately, it's two, or what is it, the expression? It's a double-edged sword. You got issues both ways. Quickly, which direction should she go? I'm kind of feeling like you should go, but plan it out a little bit more, because it might be just like financially not good if you just get up and leave. Like maybe you need to save up some money. Part of it, what I do think is happening though, Jill, I got this yearning card. Some of it is that you're yearning for something else. And I'm hearing that it might be able to be fixed here at this current job. Like, for example, like sometimes we're not happy with our relationship. So we dream about moving away to another country, leaving everything behind. But that's not always like the healthiest way to handle it. And sometimes that doesn't actually solve our problems. And so how I like to think of it is asking, well, what is it that you yearn for? What is it that you desire or that you want that you feel like leaving would provide you? And then usually if you can put a name to that, then you basically ask, well, how can I get that thing at my current job? Best example I can give is like so many people I know are so unhappy with their homes, right? Even me. And they're always concentrated on the next home, next home, next home. And I always say, well, what is it about this next home, this ideal home, in your case, job, that what does it have that your current job does not? What does this new house have that your current job or current house doesn't? And like for me, the best example was like I wanted more privacy. Well, I can get more privacy in this current house. I can just plant some plants. I can put up things so that, you know, my neighbors can't look in my backyard. So there's always something you can do. It might not be perfect, but before you leave, assess. Ask if there is anything you could change. And maybe it's just a mental shift. Maybe a lot of it is if you just shifted your mentality about it, it would be a lot better. But as long as you've done that, then I do feel like maybe it's time to go. But again, planning for the finances, I think, is going to be the first step before you completely walk away, if that makes sense. What you reckon to the 13th zodiac and how it affects people's potentially true sign? I don't even know. I've never heard of that. 17th zodiac? I have no idea. Can't speak to it. Sorry. Community is the goal. Did you answer, Lauren? I was waiting. Oh, no, I just answered. Okay. You're welcome, Jill. Okay, we've got like 10 more minutes left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do maybe one more free reading, and then we'll cap it off for donation only. So one more free reading. I am thinking of a fruit. If you can guess the fruit that I'm thinking of, then you get the reading. Woohoo! And then after this one, this will be the last free one. And with our remaining time, we'll just leave it open for anyone that wants to donate who might really, really have wanted a reading. Orange. Surrealist, you were just like on top of it tonight. So Surrealist, you got it, but I only allow one per person for the free reading. So you get to choose somebody else to pass it off to. So throw out somebody else's handle. You're going to be gifting them a reading. I probably should explain my rules up front more, but I always got so tired of saying them over and over again that I stopped doing it. You said orange. Yeah, I have Surrealist as the first one. Ooh, that's a good question, Jill. Something I've been really wanting to have, like, a really concise thing that I can send people. Really, shadow work is just dealing with your emotions. It's doing the emotional cleanup. How to do the work is like therapy in a book, and I would say that's probably the first biggest one that I can think of. A lot of it is just understanding your emotions and emotional intelligence. So any book on emotional intelligence, I would say How to Do the Work is the first only book that I could think of would definitely like cover it. I'll have to think on it more because I've always known that question is going to come up, and I feel like, how do you tell people how to handle their emotions? It's so hard. Okay. So Surrealist didn't pass it off to somebody, so I'll just choose whoever said orange next, which I think was Karen. All right. So go ahead, Karen. If you have another question, I will go ahead and pass that off to you. And even though Karen did donate, you're allowed one donation, one free reading. Ba, ba, ba. And then after Karen's free reading, we'll just kind of wrap it up for donations only. And I think I will be back in 2 weeks. No live night next week. I'm going to be one in Missouri, but normally we would have a psychic games night on Patreon, but we're going to push that towards the end of the month since I'm going to be gone. So members, you'll get a notification on what night that's going to be. Karen, if you have any questions, passing it off to you. I know Surrealist, you asked the collective message, but I basically answered that at the beginning, so just want to pass it off to somebody else. Any opinion on my website company that I went with? I'm hearing that it's like good, like they'll get the job done. It might not be amazing. It's not going to be like next level website. But as long as you can like understand the gist of it, like meaning if you need to like upload like photos or something is like what I'm hearing, you know, not having to go to them every 2 seconds to do that, like maybe asking for a bit of autonomy is what I'm hearing. Interesting. And then I got Flower Crown. Wear your power proudly and unapologetically, for it is your birthright and it is eternal like the soul. I'm kind of hearing, Karen, like, don't let them belittle you. Like, don't let them make you think that you're stupid or you don't understand. Because, you know, sometimes people will do that. Because it's a lot easier to tell somebody, oh, we can't do that, than actually doing the work if they know you don't know what you're talking about. So wear your power proudly and unapologetically. Like, to me, I'm kind of just getting like the sense of like, don't be afraid to put your foot down, especially if you don't like something. Like, don't sacrifice on the design, don't sacrifice here or there because you're too afraid to speak up. And then I think it might improve greatly, like kind of what you're looking at the website. I mean, like how it functions or how it works. So to me, this is just kind of speaking up, claiming your power, being like, you know what, I don't think that works so well. And if like, I'm just getting this particular note of like, if they try to fight you on it, it's not about like meeting them with that energy as much as being like, well, I have an opinion. Can like I voice it, and can we see if this will work out? If not, whatever. but I see a problem here, and I think this could be fixed or something. I know this is also very specific, but like whatever you're showcasing, like really showcase that on the front page is like what I'm hearing. Don't have the front page be like your face and a bunch of text. Like whatever you're selling, make it like bam. Wear your power proudly and unapologetically, for it's your birthright. Just like putting whatever you're selling like right up in people's faces, the first thing that you get. I hope that makes sense. All right. Jen is back. Alrighty, you guys. I think we're going to do donations from here on out. I'll probably stick around for like 5-10 more minutes. I've got to go finish packing. So like, is it raining? It's raining. Yay. We've needed a little bit of rain. We had a very rainy July. It's very odd for Colorado. I'm so happy it's raining. But yeah, I need to go finish packing. I've got to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow to get in the car to do a 10-hour drive. Woohoo! Thank you, Lori. No rain for drive, though. Yeah, probably not. Six of Swords is that bad. It's expanding. Sixes are about expanding new ideas, kind of thinking outside of where you're at currently. So, and Swords is like thoughts, like however you're approaching this, it's getting a little bit more information. It's approaching it differently. Whatever your thoughts are on it now, it's about getting new information, trying out something new, different, something that's not working right now. I wonder if I can find the Six of Swords in here. Although this isn't the original deck. I think it's that ship, isn't it? I think I pulled it earlier. Oh, I love hearing the rain. I will say too, in our camper out there, which we're turning into an Airbnb, if you've watched my Sabbath videos, you've seen it. But hearing the rain in that camper, it's like rain on a tin roof. Oh, it's like the most magical sound ever. I'm so excited to get it done. We've already got like a fridge for it, a microwave. I got a new Keurig for it. But we still have a lot of like little things here and there that we need to fix. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find the Six of Swords card. Which is going to be the very last one I find. I will say I'm going to have a tarot video up in 2 weeks. So not next week's. Yeah, here's the Six of Swords. It's not a very good card, I will say. It's on the more negative side. But I am going to have a tarot video up in 2 weeks. So next week, we're going to be talking about what do you do. So we had runes come out yesterday, right? And then next week is going to be what do you do when you're getting nothing? Like when you're trying to tune into psychic information and it's like radio silence or like crickets. That's going to be next week's video. I'm speaking to that. And then the week after that is going to be tarot, like very basic intro to tarot. Already filmed that. So I will go over, sixes. What's the number 6? What are swords? So you're going to get a very intro blast of information about tarot cards. I'm excited about that camera. Me too. I don't know. How many of you guys even watch my Sabbath videos? They perform badly because I know it has nothing to do with psychic development, but it's like a more personal vlog of me and my family. And I'm learning about the Sabbats, which are the Wiccan Sabbats or Wicca Sabbats, which technically I can't even call it that. Not all Wiccans celebrate it. And so I'm learning about them as we go. I'm reading each book of the Llewellyn's Essential Sabbat books. And then we basically try to do some of the things from that book, celebrate it. And then at the end, like, okay, this is what I'll do different next time. I might not celebrate it at all. Might celebrate it. And I'm just kind of doing kind of like a vlog style. I need to do vlogs every now and then to keep my motivation going with this channel. It can be so demotivating. just to have such slow growth, and like some months have this stuff not even pay the bills. It can be very like, ugh, should I just give up? Should I just go back to filmmaking? Should I just throw in the towel? So I need to do vlogs just to keep my creativity going, do things that I love. Do you have a talk on pendulum? Yes, I do have a video on pendulums. So if you want to learn how to use those, I do have a video. I now have a playlist called Psychic Tools. I didn't have that before. So that playlist is specifically dedicated to like physical psychic tools. Anything that you can hold that's like cards, any of that, it should be in that playlist. So I do have a pendulum video already, I think, right? Yeah. That one's always been confusing because I filmed it once and then I lost the footage. So I thought I had it. And then when I went to go look for it, I was like, oh my gosh, where'd it go? And then I had to redo it. All right. Thanks, Jana. I did get your stickers. Do you have a question? Hype. Those are cute. There's some thunder outside. You can't really hear it, but I'm so glad we got some rain. Thank you all so much for being here, for donating. I appreciate you all. I will say I am going to have a collab video coming up. It's probably going to be October-ish for the Lenormand cards. So I'm doing that intro to tarot here in like 2 weeks. But I'm going to do an intro to Lenormand. And I haven't worked very much with the Lenormand. So I wanted to bring in somebody who really knew the Lenormand. And I found somebody else on YouTube who, like, her whole channel is Lenormand. And I reached out to her. I was like, hey, would you want to do a collab? Come in, teach people, because I don't really know what I'm talking about. And she said yes. So we're going to collab with her in like sometime in October. Both of us are so busy right now. But if you want to check out her channel already, it's I think it's Lenormand Reader. Oh, I'm sorry, Jenna. Jenna, you got the emailed reading, correct? I think I sent it to like myself or something, so then I had to forward it, and I just wanted to make sure. Jana won the pre-made readings that I was giving out. So if you want a pre-made reading, I'll just promote that again really quick. So I know that sometimes you want a reading, but you don't really have like a real need for one, and you might not have any questions, which is why I kind of came up with pre-made readings. And these are like me totally coming up with the topic, the questions. Like all you have to do is send me a bit of information, and then I'll give you a full 15-minute reading recording. I will send that. I keep seeing the flash of lightning. And I will send that as an audio recording. And so there's a bunch of different topics, like who are my guides, manifestation check-in, checking in with a loved one in spirit. One of them is for like a lost pet. So I have a ton of those now. And so I gave away one as a free yay celebration, and Jana got it. Okay. Yes. All right. I guess I want to see if my mom has anything to say. I know I was pulling the cards, but I just want to connect with her. I'm super depressed lately. I mean, this card does make sense. So this says Maypole, I am fertile in what I seed, for there is reason to dance and drink upon the riches I receive. And kind of like the gist that I'm getting from this card is like focus on what is working. Focus on what is good. It's really easy to focus on all the things that are going wrong, be very doom and gloom. Not saying that like you're bad or wrong for feeling those feelings. But this is like potential for change. You're not going back to what it was. You can set a new vision. You can decide what seeds you want to sow and that you are fertile in it. So this to me is saying like, I don't have to, oh my gosh, this thunder right now is just beautiful. I don't have to subscribe to the old is kind of like the energy that I'm getting from her. She's like, focus on what is working, pay attention to she just wants you to like dream up new dreams, dream up a new future. And that can be very hard when you feel like you're going backwards, you feel like, or maybe you're stagnant or things just didn't work out. She's trying to say like, focus on what's working, focus on what you want improved, what you want to dream up, what you want to have changed, and understand that you're fertile with those seeds. Those seeds will come to fruition. It might be a while, but you need to have a new vision right now. And I think maybe that lack of vision is probably why you're just not feeling so great. I'm fertile in what I seed, for there is reason to dance and drink upon the riches I receive. This to me is saying like, again, I feel like it's so easy to jump back into the old, but try to focus on what you want renewed. What do you want a new version of, and how do you get that? And, even if it's I'm like hearing from her, even if it's a new version of becoming more independent so you could, potentially walk away in the future, plant those seeds now, figure out how you could get there. But you're in the middle of this voyage, Jana. You're in the middle of a wonder voyage. You're crossing deep waters. It's a journey of the soul. So yeah, it can feel lonely. It can feel confusing. But have the vision. Have the like she's giving it to me like a light, what is that called? A light pole? No, a light house. A lighthouse. Right now it's just kind of like, I don't know which lighthouse I'm going towards. I'm just floating. And she's kind of saying, find the vision when you're ready. Find that next. That's the thing I'm pushing towards. I hope that makes sense. Anything else for Jana? Ooh, this is an interesting. I haven't pulled this card. So sacrifice. Very gory kind of picture. You must find the ebb and flow of life within your very self. Embracing it all is embracing truth. So this to me is saying like, even when life is crappy, it's about embracing the crappy parts, understanding that it's there for a reason. What is it? The sacrifice word. The sacrifice is just, sometimes you're in a spot that you don't want to be in, and because of that, it affects your life in a negative way. But those sacrifices have good outcomes in the end, is kind of what I'm hearing. I think that's the sacrifice of kind of going back is what I'm hearing. Embracing it all as truth. So you're there. Try to not focus so much on the negative. I know that's harder to say than it is to do, but I think this is a message of acceptance. It is what it is. You're here. Find that new goal. Find that new vision. Or else you're just going to keep floating. And it's always going to be this way, if that makes sense. I hope that helps. I really enjoyed it, and it didn't make my day better. Awesome. I just wanted to make sure you got it. It's okay. It's okay if you hate it. It's okay if you love it. Alrighty, you guys. I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I'm kind of losing my voice a little bit. I don't want to pack. I want to hang out with you guys, but I got to pack. I've got to pack all my stuff for these classes, which is behind me. Got to get all my teaching supplies ready. I need to print out some more courses. So thank you all for joining me. I will see you in 2 weeks. Patreon people, you'll see me sooner. But yeah, have a good night, everybody. Thank you, Karen. Alrighty, you guys. Good night. Let's see if it's going to let me end the stream. Maybe.